podcast, where we've got more classic action this weekend in the form of the Irish Derby. We'll be previewing that at the end of the show. We're starting off with 7 races on ITV this weekend. And what's a quiet enough weekend? It is traditionally, of course, we're straight after Royal Ascot between Newcastle and Newmarket. Adele, Mulrennan and Steve Jones are my guests. Welcome along, both of you. We'll get stuck straight into the action. You both look well, so I assume you are. The selections will be up on Matchbook Insights. That's insights.matchbook.com. That's for a recap of all of our best bets. If you are liking our content, then remember, do give us a thumbs up, a like on YouTube, and you can subscribe for free. And via your preferred podcast app, you can subscribe there as well, and it gets downloaded onto your phone or whatever you want to listen to us on, and it's there for you, and that is across all of our sports as well. Right. On we go. Let's start over 6 furlongs at Newcastle. And I'll give you some prices for this. I am being pathetic and I'm afraid sitting this one out. I thought this was a little bit too tricky. We've got 12 runners going forward here and prices are as follows. So the horse that heads to betting is Strike Red, who is a 5.5 shot. Rolf Rembrandt is 8.0. If You Dare is 9.0. You've got Ratea in there at 13.0. Bigger prices off the back of that. And Steve, you are sticking with a horse bang at the top of the betting.
Yeah, I am. Strike Red of Richard Fives, because I think he's coming into form. He certainly started the season quite slow. He ran all right first time up, but then he had a few below par efforts in what admittedly were very hot races, hot handicaps, Newmarket and York. And then last time, it seemed to be coming back to form. The race wasn't really to run to suit him there. He's fourth, and he likes a strong pace, this horse, and a stiff track. And he just couldn't quite bridge the gap, and he was only beaten 3/4 of a length. But the main angle in with him is the fact that he's unbeaten at Newcastle over 6 furlongs. He's been there twice, and he's won twice. And although he's slightly higher in the weights, I don't think that's a problem at all, because he's run really well off these sort of marks in the past. So returning to his favourite track, should get a decent pace to run at, and likes the surface and is running into form. So it's a little bit boring because he is at the top of the market, but I think Strike Red will probably win.
He's not like a silly short price, though. It's fair enough. You could even go win and place if you wanted to. Adele, my closest, came closest to a selection with Be Proud, who I thought ran really well at Ayr last time, and then I was like, well, Paul's on it, and Adele hasn't picked it, so that's not winning. Is that a sensible way to approach a selection for a race or not?
No, because honestly, I've given up even asking Paul, to be honest with you. He gets on well with Be Proud, and he goes well at the track. I haven't tipped him, though, because you'll probably notice that I won't be tipping much of Paul's horses since he let me down on my best bet that day.
It should be the other way around. He should ask you. He should say, Adele, am I going to win?
It does. To be fair, we do go for the races quite a lot together. Even yesterday, there was that McKean running up at Carlisle, who I just didn't think would stay a stiff mile, but he was like, "Oh, I think it will." And I was like, "I don't think it will." So he should really ask me more for my opinion, because I don't think I'm too bad. But I'm going for a horse.
I take it the horse didn't stay a stiff mile.
No, I don't think. I didn't think he was.
Well, that's where you would go.
I'm going for a horse who I've tipped twice, so I have to tip it, because if it wins, I'll absolutely kick myself for not tipping it. So Titus, who I absolutely love anyway. I followed him all last year, and he's now with Michael Dodds. He's had 2 starts, so he should be well and truly fit by now. He's over further, which I don't think will bother him. He did run over 6 furlongs when he was trained by Brian Smart, I think, as a 2-year-old. He had his second start, was over 6 furlongs, and that was at Newcastle. He was 3rd. He's a half brother to a 6 furlong mile winner, so I think there'll be plenty enough stamina in there. Dan was placed over 6 furlongs on the all-weather as well, and she was a half sister to a group play 6 furlong winner. So I think he'll be absolutely fine at the trip, and he's not a bad price either. So place market with him. So Titus.
Place only.
What price was he? What price do you have him at?
17.0.
17.0. I thought it'd be a bit shorter than that. Yeah, I think I'll just stay at the place market with him because it's quite a competitive little race.
Okay, there you go. Let's have a look at the opener. I like I say, I was tempted with Be Proud, but this is a bit deeper than he's been in, so I'm just going to swerve that race. I do have something for every other race, I promise you. I'm not being that pathetic. Right, we move on to the Maureen Brittain Memorial Empress Fillies Stakes. This is the 205 at Newmarket. I'll get prices up for you very shortly. Richard Hannon won this last year. He's got Mini Tonka in there, who is 3.75. Malresia is 4.5. Lizu 6.5. Believing 9.0. 13.0 and bigger the rest. I'll kick us off here just because I do like Mini Tonka. It wouldn't be a big bet. I think there's a couple of things in her favour. Obviously, the Salisbury win was very eye-catching, and it was a bit too close to Royal Ascot for her to run in anything at Royal Ascot. But it was a sort of Royal Ascot juvenile performance, I thought. She kept it simple, went forward, and absolutely bolted up. I think that sort of ride will suit again here. She's drawn 3, and the horse that Richard Hannon won it with last year was drawn low and it headed towards the stand-side rail. And I often think that over that far side course at Newmarket on the July courses, it can be where you want to be up the near side rail. We've seen it a few times in this race, so I don't think it should be too far away from there. It'd be a small bet because of the nature of the race. The time was okay on good to firm ground. It wasn't crazy good, but she was hardly given a hard time. She won it in a canter, really. She was pushed out a bit towards the end, and I was very impressed with her. So Mini Tonka for me at 3.75. Steve, same for you?
Yeah, I was at Salisbury when she won, and they did all get in each other's way a little bit in behind. But what struck me with Mini Tonka was that she was so professional, and that was a really impressive part of that performance. And she, like you say, she just cruised clear in the closing stages. She was much the best, and there was horses that went into that with a bit of form. So I think it was probably a decent enough race, and she took them apart, even though she had the run of the race. I think she's potentially very, very smart, and she's only had a couple of weeks since that Salisbury win, so she should have come forward quite a lot, one would hope. And Richard Hannon, when he strikes with a horse on debut, they tend to be quite good. And he's also got a very good record, like you say, in this race, as did his father. So it's a race that they kind of target with a good horse. And I think that's exactly what Mini Tonka is. She's a really nice filly.
Yeah, Mini Tonka for Steve and I, 3.75. Another big price for you, Adele, 9.0.
Yeah, I've gone for a filly who I think she needs to step up professionally anyway. I didn't think it was too bad on her debut. She was behind Morge, isn't it? The one that was second in the Albany. So I didn't think it was a bad run. She was quite green. She was having a little roll around. And then when she kind of went to make a serious challenge, she kind of got squeezed in between two horses. She was like sandwiched in between them and had to take back a little bit. And she got going again. But Morge had the rail and was just a little bit more straighter, and therefore ended up winning by 4 and 4 and a bit length. So I just think her form's not bad with Morge running well in the Albany. She then went to Wolverhampton and won on the all-weather, and she didn't look all that straightforward again that day. She reared, missed, I think it was about 10 lengths or something that she missed the start that day. So I thought she did really well to win. So I think she's definitely one that's got a big bit of improvement in her. Back at Newmarket will suit her. James Doyle's on board again. He won on her, so he'll know her. She's definitely a little bit quirky, but I just think there's still a good bit of improvement in her. She's well bred as well. So, yeah, I've gone for one at a big price, but I do think I think if she can get on her A game and kind of, knuckle down and be a bit more professional, there could be some good improvement in her.
Yeah, 9.0 for Believing, and Steve and I at the top of the betting. That win in place, Adele?
Yeah, win in place.
Okay, in what is it, 11 runner field? Yeah, so not a bad size field for that contest, not quite as big as last year. We go back to Newmarket into the 205, and sorry, not to the 205. We go back to Newcastle and to the 225, to the Chipchase Stakes. And I'll give you prices shortly, but I wanted you to kick off with Glen Shiel, Adele, because I was tempted. This horse is a price, right? Given back form.
Paul and I both actually agree. We think he'll run really well, Glen Shiel, and obviously missed his chance down at Royal Ascot on the ground. He's got a really good record on the all-weather, especially at Newcastle. I think out of his 8 starts on the all-weather, he's won 3, second, third. The other ones where he was unplaced, he was like running over a mile and a quarter. Do you remember when he was like running over staying distances? So, yeah, I mean, he showed plenty enough signs last year to suggest that he's, he's still got, plenty of boot, and he's got plenty of ability still. He was second in the Platinum Jubilee, second in the Champion Sprint. And I don't think he's ran two bad races so far this year. So I just think he's, I don't know. I didn't think it was a great race. And I thought if he could put up, any of those good performances, I thought he could win. You know what you're getting with him, don't you? You know how he's going to be ridden. You just know what you're going to get with him.
And Paul's ridden the horse before, isn't he? He knows.
Yeah, Paul's ridden him before, and he thinks he'll run a big race as well.
Okay, Steve.
Yeah, to be honest, Glen Shiel was the one I thought was the big danger, because I don't think there's a huge amount of pace in the race, and obviously Glen Shiel will be up with it. But the other one that will be up with it is Sense of Duty, you would think, who comes into it. And interestingly enough, ridden by Tom Marquand with his wife Holly Doyle on Glen Shiel. So it could be an interesting finish for them, because I think Sense of Duty's got a great chance. Last time beat Flotus, who is a horse I don't like, who went on to run very well at Royal Ascot in the Platinum Jubilee. But the third horse there, Benefit, is also Frank the Form, winning at Salisbury, albeit in a listed race. But I think Sense of Duty, she's only she's a 3-year-old filly, so she gets loads and loads of weight. And I think she's improving fast. And the fact that William Haggis, who is a man who likes to exploit handicap marks, the fact that he ran her in a listed race last time against horses that were massively higher rated. Flotus was something like £24 higher rated than her. So he took her on and he beat her. And I think that form is much better than a listed race. And the fact that 3-year-olds have got a decent record in this race, mainly because of that weight allowance. A couple of them have won, and they also, a good few 3-year-olds have hit the frame in recent years. So Sense of Duty, I think, has got a great chance.
I was honestly, I sort of had it down to 3, Glen Shiel, Sense of Duty, and then I thought Happy Power at 12.0 was just overpriced. Back in Trip, I quite liked for the horse, and I think the stiff finish will suit. I take the point about there not being a huge amount of pace. I guess that's a slight concern, but he doesn't have a huge amount of fine with these, and some of his form has got a bit of depth to it. Only beaten 3.5 lengths in a Group 1 by Creative Force at Ascot, and that was over the 6. So I know the last win came over 7. He was a bit disappointing last time in a race we're going to see potentially work out later on at Newmarket. But I quite like back in Trip. I hope they go hard, because he'll want to. And I just thought he was 12.0, just a little bit overpriced. It'd be small stakes win and place for me for Happy Power. Let's kick on again then. We're going back to Newmarket. And Newmarket looks like this. It's the 240. We haven't got very strong opinions for this contest. Rebel's Romance is the horse at the top of the betting at 2.75. Kamari is 4.5. Stowell is 5.0. Universe Order is 5.0. Something Enticing 21.0. Right, Adele, I know you're sitting this one out. Absolutely fine. Steve, I know you didn't have a very strong opinion. I'll just kick off with my thoughts on the race. Are that Stowell is a horse who I have been disappointed with, because he on his first start, he looked physically like he definitely needed the run, and that was the suggestion. And I was looking forward to him stepping up in Trip. And then he did, and he didn't convince over it. So I guess I'm clutching at straws a bit with him back in Trip. But I can't really get behind the top two in the betting, and I really don't like Rebels Romance. So I'm happy to have a small win bet on Stowell at 5.0. And this Rebels Romance, there's every chance that the UAE Derby has finished him. I don't think a horse in the last few years has won a race after the UAE Derby. I think one went to America and won a race, but it's not good form. I was quite excited about him out in Dubai on the dirt. And I know this is his first turf start since, but he did most of his winning on the all-weather anyway. I'm seriously not convinced with the horse. I'd rather back Kamari, to be honest. But I will be laying Rebels Romance 2 places and backing Stowell. Steve, do you want to say anything about the race? Okay, Steve, come back in.
Sorry, I'd muted myself. I even forgot that I'd muted myself, which, unless Dan did it. But yeah, I just thought it was a very, very messy race because I think Kamari will go from the front, but I don't think he's really quick enough. It generally runs over further, and there's an argument for saying his best form's over nearly 2 miles. So although he'll get the run of the race, Stowell, I think, is a tripless horse. I think he's not quick enough for 1.5 miles, and he doesn't stay 1.6 miles. So I was really disappointed with him at Royal Ascot. Rebels Romance, like you say, I was willing to chance Rebels Romance because he looked so good last year, albeit more than a year in the sort of winter time. But he's run appallingly twice since, and to see him favourite, I don't want to be. I expected him to be a bigger price, and the other two need to be held up and won't have the race run to suit. But either of them could easily be good enough in the circumstances of the race. So I'm not going to have a bet.
Great. And we're really excited for this race, aren't we? It is all about the two.
Dave Yates this is his favourite race of the year, solely because it's called the Fred Archer Stakes.
Ah, yeah, cool. He loves Fred Archer. God, I tell you what, the only person that tells a longer story than Steve Jones is Dave Yates about the man behind Steve, Fred Archer. Yeah. This race named in memory of Fred Archer blew his brains out, and they're off. The greatest ever call from Tom. Absolutely superb. Right. Let's move on. Oh, let me tell you about the sign-up offer, everybody. So this is the £30 welcome offer. You should know it by now. Money back as a free bet if your first bet loses. It's for new customers only. You've got to use the bonus code INSIGHTS30. That's the numbers 30, INSIGHTS30. You place your first bet. If it loses, Matchbook will refund your stake as a free bet up to £30. The full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website, 18+, be gamble aware. And in all seriousness, if you don't have a Matchbook account and you're listening for free to all of our content, then great stuff. I hope you like it, but it is well worth placing a bet on the Matchbook exchange if you're going to have a bet, because you're most likely to get best odds guaranteed. And if you place your first bet up to £30 and it loses, you will get your stake as a free bet. There you go. The 3 o'clock at Newcastle is the Northumberland Vase Handicap. And is it the 3 o'clock or is it the 2:55?
2:55.
Yes, the 2. They've changed the time of this. That's what they do, you see. So let me give you the prices first of all. My God, it's open. Evaluation 8.0. Zealinda is 8.5. Mellow Magic 9.0. 11.0 Ravens Arc. Jeremiah 11.0, and bigger prices the rest. Adele, take us through your selection, please.
I didn't think mine even got mentioned there, did it? It must be a huge price.
Hang on. Let me give it to you. Yes, at 34.0.
I'm not bothered, to be honest with you, because I think this horse is absolutely crying out for this trip on the flat. Brian Ellison has sung this horse's praises so many times to me. He's not yet won for Brian, but he's ran really well, like over hurdles, over 2 miles, 2 miles as well. So I think he'll definitely stay the trip. And like I say, I think he's been crying out for this on the flat. He ran recently in the Queen Mother's Cup at York. He's a really good-looking horse. Like, as soon as he enters the parade ring, he catches your eye straight away. He's really athletic. So at a big price like that, I just thought he'd be worth a nice big place bet for a race which is so tricky to try and find the winner. Evaluation is a horse who has been hugely progressive. He's another good-looking son. I remember him winning at Wetherby first time out for Keith Dalglish, and thinking, oh gosh, this is one to pop in the tracker, because he was really nice and he's done nothing but improve. But it's just the top weight in these kind of races. He might still have enough up his sleeve to cope with it. Evaluation, and he has won over 2 miles on the all weather as well. So he's one to have on side. I wasn't quite sure what the prices were going to be, and if he's that big as well, I might have add him to the list.
Okay, so he's 8.0.
Yeah, and which is still big enough to play at the place market. Yeah. So
I'm going to add that to the list for you.
Yeah, add him as a couple of them I were waiting to see what price there would be. So add him in as well, and then I'll take Tiger Jet even bigger.
The only thing that I felt evaluation was he's rated high. I know he's got the penalty here, but he's still rated higher on the turf, and I just wondered. That was the only thing putting me off. He's so progressive. Maybe I'm looking too much into that. It's just crazy progressive, and I think probably the right favourite. I'm looking at two slightly bigger prices. Maybe a trade with Catbird Seat. I think Holly Doyle should have the run of things here. Quite likes Catbird Seat's sort of profile coming into the race. We know that the all-weather isn't a problem. We know that Tapita isn't a problem. And I think he'll definitely trade a good bit shorter in the run. So that was the angle there. I'll probably just let it ride. But out of 8, I think he'll definitely go forward. And the other one I quite liked was a horse with good course form, which is Wise Eagle. Let me just give you the price of Wise Eagle. Catbird Seat can be backed at the same price as Wise Eagle. They're both 17.0. Wise Eagle likes it here. It's got very strong course form, and I can see on the premises. I quite like I prefer a lower draw here personally. I prefer them to not be drawn too wide. I think it can be difficult to make up ground in the big field. And Wise Eagle, I think Will Stay has won at Newcastle before, has stayed this distance before, and the cheap pieces going back on that were on board for his last win, I thought was a plus. I thought he was a big enough price, Wise Eagle. Steve?
Yeah, there's two things putting me off this horse. Is the fact that I was surprised looking through the declarations and then from the entries that this horse hasn't got headgear on. And the other thing is that Adele hasn't mentioned Jeremiah because Paul rides it, but I think he's got a great chance.
We know now that's a good thing.
Yeah, maybe. I think he's got a great chance, Jeremiah, because he's 3 from 3 on the all-weather, including one of those was on Tapita. That is the same surface as Newcastle. He won there at Wolverhampton. That was for Marco Botti. He's had 3 runs since joining Jim Goldie, who won the Northumberland Plate last year. So it's a race that he knows all about and knows how to win. And Jeremiah, I thought, comes out really well with the favourite Evaluation, because back in May, Jeremiah finished 3rd to Evaluation at York, when Evaluation, they raced in a very similar position off the pace. Evaluation came wide. Jeremiah went nearer the inside. They obviously came down the centre like they do at York. But Evaluation got absolutely no run at all. And they didn't go very hard in that race. And he's just not quick enough to take the gaps when they came. And Evaluation won really well. But Jeremiah is really well off at the weights with that run. And I think that was a good race. Super Jack was second, who is another horse that I quite like, who went close at Salisbury last time. So I think it was really solid form. And I think people are ignoring this horse because he didn't run very well at Musselburgh last time over 2 miles. But that track's going to be way too sharp for him because he's not a quick horse. And I think this course will suit him really well. The all-weather clearly suits him well. The long straight and the stiff finish, and I think there's loads of, well, I think there's enough pace in there. You say Catbird's Seat. I think there's a few others that will go for. Cloud Thunder is another one. So I expect a solid gallop. And I think he's got a great chance. He is in stall 18, which in the old days of the Northumberland Plate, that was a real no-no because they turn quite sharply from the start, even though it's 2 miles. But since this race has been switched to the all-weather, it's been the Northumberland Plate stats I'm going on. I think there's 6 times it's been run on the all-weather, and 4 of them have been double-figure stalls, and the last 2 have been won by stall 17. So absolutely no problem being drawn in 18. So Jeremiah, it is my selection. I am intrigued why they didn't try. I was expecting them to maybe slap the headgear on because his 3 wins for Marco Botti came in headgear, but perhaps he just likes the Scottish air and he's quite a lot happier than he was in Newmarket.
And Danny Day won this out of 16, Cosmelli out of 19. The last 3 winners have been 5, 4 and 2, but I take that point. Do you have anything on the draw, Adele, over this course and distance?
Well, I mean, they've got plenty of time to sort themselves out, isn't it? It depends really what you want to do with your horse, if you want to go forward or not. I think the past couple of winners have been quite low, or I think they usually have they?
But it wouldn't be you wouldn't see like being drawn out wide as a massive negative or anything like that.
No, you've got loads of time to get yourself in where you need to be. Position. Why can be a little bit messy the first couple of furlongs as they're trying to sort themselves out, but it's not something I ever really overthink at Newcastle. I mean, if you watch is it Seb Sanders, like every time he goes on about the draw at Newcastle and every single race it's a different one than the next one. He's saying you can't come up the middle and you can't come up there. It depends how the track's riding as well. And I heard Paul talk to Jim Goldie, and they were saying that they've really deeply harrowed it on Saturday.
Seb Sanders is interesting. He's such a popular chap, Seb, with his jockey
Not in my household.
Oh, I know, I can imagine. I don't think in any jockey household he's that popular as Seb, bless him. But there you go. We move on. Hi Seb, if you're watching. With the 3:15 at Newmarket, it's the Criterion Stakes, and Sunray Major and Lanarkash 3.25, Pogo 6.0, Ever Given 10.0. Bigger prices there on Bounce and Lose is 13.0. My selection Art Duval is 13.0, and a base player is 17.0. I assume that's base player, not bass player. You wouldn't play a fish, right? You two. A gluttons for punishment with good old Lanarkash. Steve, take it away.
He's just got a really good chance, hasn't he? I know he
loves winning.
I know you don't like him, but he's running good races the whole way through his career after making a winning debut when he was really good. And the form just stacks up. That second to Sacred last season in the Hungerford Stakes is a real good run. And last time, he just managed to get beaten by Pogo in the John O'Gaunt at Haydock, which is a track that wouldn't have suited him because Pogo didn't go all that hard in front. It made the running, made all the running, and Lanarkash would have been in front in another couple of strides. I know you don't like him, but there's nothing wrong with him. He's got a good record fresh, so I don't expect him to improve anything from that comeback run, but he doesn't need to. Because I think Pogo won't be given a soft time like he was last time, and Lanarkash will just sit just off them in probably 3rd or 4th and pick them up in the closing stages. It's quite a straightforward race, really.
Simple as that, Adele.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was thinking, oh, really, am I going to tip a horse that hasn't won since his debut? But his form backs up those kind of defeats in a way. So, and you think he would come on for his run at Haydock. So that's what I'm kind of hoping on really more than anything. And Evergiven's a horse who I really like, and I'm just not quite sure stepping up into another level. So that's why I've come down on what you're getting with him. Steve's already mentioned how he'll be ridden and everything. So yeah, I've come down on him, but I was a little bit worried that I'm tipping a horse that hasn't won since debut.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely. I think he should probably be favourite. He was a bit unlucky last time. Mind you, Sunray Major was unlucky as well, and I'm interested with cheap pieces on him because he definitely needs something to just toughen him up or help him at the finish a bit. But he had to wait as well. I don't think he was best positioned how the race developed, and I'm just a bit concerned he'll be held up. I'm going to have a small win bet only on Art Duval at 13.0. I'm very interested with him back in trip. The trainer's very good, I think, when he drops horses back in trip. And, you know, he may just have wanted that reappearance run last time where he absolutely tanked into the race over the mile and then just got tired. So I thought it might just be a race to have a go at something at a bigger price. So Art Duval fits that bill at 13.0. And if Lanakash wins, Steve especially, you can gloat away. And you will, probably. Yeah. On we go to the Northumberland Plate. So I won't give you prices just yet. I'll get the selections first of all. Okay, Adele, I know you've got a few, so take us through
them. I mean, Trushan. I mean, he's going to have so much weight to carry. You think of having Holly on board, and I mean, what would she be? 8 stone, 7.13. He'll have 8. He'll show 10.12 on the scales, so it's quite hefty. I remember laying him last year, and he had a claimer on board that year to offset some of the weight. But the thing is with Trushan, you're just gonna have to run him because he needs to run, doesn't he, for his fitness?
Is that just on that, Adele? Is that because there's going to be she's going to have to carry so much lead? Is that like should we look at? Is that something worth noting that because she's so light and the horse is carrying so much weight, is that an out-and-out negative?
It's just dead weight. I mean, having her on board, I do think is a positive because she knows him so well. But it's a lot of dead weight, isn't it? I mean, Holly might even be even lighter. She might only be even like 7'11", 7'12". She's very small. I think when I was riding, I was 7'7", so she could even be even lighter. So it's a lot of dead weight. I mean, he's a big enough horse, he can carry it, but I mean, he just has to run, doesn't he, just to keep his fitness up. So you can see why he's running. But it's always like they always say look for a group horse in a handicap, but this is the one time you probably don't follow the group horse in the handicap.
Her lowest riding weight is 8 stone in the last 12 months. So if you take into account the allowances, but then plus the equipment, you're looking at
like 10.
Yeah, she's going to weigh. Yeah, she's going to weigh about 8 or just under, isn't she? So I mean, that's frightening. Anyway, go on.
So I've come down on Valley Forge. I thought he won the Helnock at Haydock. That was over 2 miles. He was the last one off the bridle. He travelled really, really well. He seemed to appreciate the trip that day. That really did open up options for him as a stayer. So he's gone up £4, untried on the all-weather. That's a little bit of a question, but he's a half-brother to plenty of all-weather winners. So that kind of reassures me a little bit. So I think that should be fine with him. Rajinski, I just think, is an absolute solid horse in these kind of races. He very rarely runs a bad race. And especially at this trip as well, we know he's a good stayer. So I've come down on him. I think he was third. Was he third last year? He was fourth, wasn't he? But then he ended up being third. That was off a lower mark. But he's like I said, he is what he is. Harry Davies is taking off his £7. And then One Smooth Operator, who will definitely appreciate being back on the all-weather. He's got a very American pedigree. Had his turf debut at York this year, and I definitely think he'll be better on the all-weather. And I do think there's a pot in this horse when I'm not sure. So he's another one I just don't want to miss. I just don't want to be on him when he wins one, because I'll kick myself in the foot, because he's definitely got a big prize in him on the all-weather. So maybe it might be Saturday.
You definitely just said you'll kick yourself in the foot, Adele.
Oh, I'll kick myself in the shin. I don't know where I'll kick myself.
Wait, what is the expression?
I don't know. What is it?
What is it that you?
I'll kick myself. So you
you
can kick yourself in the foot. You got two of them.
You can kick yourself where you want, Adele.
Well, I'll kick myself in my ankle then.
I know where I'd like to kick Tom Stanley. So.
Hang on. Talking of kicking yourself in the ankle, I've got the frozen peas out, look, because I've twisted my ankle.
Oh, how?
I know, Steve. I was playing touch rugby.
That's such rugby. That's such a Tom Stanley thing. Oh, don't touch me! Don't touch! Don't the big boys! Don't hurt me! And my hair.
Nobody was anywhere near me, and I was just running backwards to keep in line, and I just went over on my ankle.
I'll tell you a little story. Like, it's Gaelic football, isn't it? The one with the whack the balls and stuff. Like, it's brutal.
Yeah. Oh, listen, our esteemed producer is all over it. Go on.
So, a few of the jockeys go and play on like a Sunday league thing. Shane Gray, David Nolan, and a few of the Irish lads. And honestly, like, you think you got hurt there, Tom. You want to see the size of these lads against these jockeys, and I've never seen anything like it. Paul come away. His finger was basically bent in the wrong direction. Like, it's still bad now. He's been in hospital. He'll never, ever be straight again. So just seeing, I can just imagine you with your little peas on your ankle, and these jockeys were out there breaking their fingers, and their arms were bent and everything.
That is, yeah. And I've been milking it as well, believe me. I've been hobbling. Every time my wife's in the room, I do a proper hobble. Anyway. What's your selection, Steve? You tipped up Valley Forge last time.
I did, yeah. I like Valley Forge, and I think he's one of those with a good chance. He obviously won the Melrose last year and then lost his form but he had excuses. And last time he won despite not having the clearest of runs. So yeah, I can see Valley Forge. The other one I can see as well is Spirit Mixer, who got no sort of he was drawn wide at Chester, which is not always a problem over 2 miles, but it was this time because they didn't go very fast. He was caught wide and he just wasn't quick enough. Before then, he was very, very progressive, and I think he's got a good chance. He won his last start on the all-weather by 6 lengths, so even though it was Polly, he's got a good chance. But the one I can't go without at the prices, I think he's 34.0, is Pirate King of Charlie Fellows's, who was beaten miles last time at Epsom, but that was over 1.5 miles in the Great Metropolitan. And that form worked out really well. That was back in April, and he just couldn't go the early pace, so he was miles off it, and it was a race that was dominated from the front, and he just never got into it. So strike a line through that. Previously, his form, even though it was over 1.5 miles, was good on the all-weather. He's best on the all-weather, without a doubt. And if you go far enough back, he's a horse that has been tried over 2 miles, but not for the best part of 3 years. And I think now he's older, I think he needs it. And I think he's really well handicapped on some of his best form. So at that sort of price, funny enough, he's drawn 18 as well, the same as my selection in the Vase. And they've got cheap pieces on for the first time, which I'm hoping will help him travel a bit better. And if that's the case, I just think 34.0 is ludicrous. So Pirate King for me.
Pirate King, cheap pieces for the first time. I'm also putting up also ran in the Great Metropolitan. Who'd have thought it? And it's Hugo Palmer's second string, far and away second string. Is a slightly shorter price. Solent Gateway is 26.0. Andrew Mullen rides. He ran a good race in the Great Metropolitan, won by Going Gone. That was with his normal cheek pieces on. Again, like Steve said, the race wasn't run to suit. He was out the back, then he kept on. Then he was sent off at 7.5 for a Chester Cup. Ben Curtis rode him. He ran a shocker. He's just so keen. And it was weird because he's run over the distance before and wasn't keen, or he's run over 2 miles and won at Chester. So I'm sort of not worried about him going back up in trip because I know he'll see it out. I guess there's a concern as to whether or not he'll settle, but that'll be up to Andrew Mullen, and maybe they've done something with him at home, because if he does, he's got a better shot than 26.0. He got absolutely no luck back at Epsom last time. Again, over a trip just short of his best when he got stung by stall 2 that day. He came out of 2 and Harry Davis gave him a good ride, but the horses coming back down the camber onto the rail cut him up, got absolutely no run. I think he'd have gone close that day. And he's a really big price, 26.0 for this, but he needs to settle. Irish Derby. Let me give you the prices. So Tuesday makes this race really interesting. 2.62. Westover is 2.75. Pisbadeel under Gavin Ryan is 10.0. Hannibal Barca is 11.0, as is Lionel French Claim 34.0. Glory Days 51.0. Boundless Ocean 67.0. Steve, go on. Come on, make this case. This is the one I'm looking forward to.
Well, obviously, the Oaks winner Tuesday's got a really good chance, even though she's trying to do something that's not particularly easy in winning a Colts Classic as a filly, although Solstice and Balanchine did it way back. Westover, everyone seems to think was desperately unlucky in the Derby. I mean, Westover would have been second with a clear run, but there's no way we've beaten Desert Crown. So the fact that he was unlucky to beat 150 to 1 shot Huya Mal with Muscala just in behind and a load of other horses that didn't stay, I'm not convinced by Westover at the prices. And then you've got Pisbadeel, who didn't handle the track at Epsom, so I can see Pisbadeel running a lot better, and certainly one that can run into the frame. But it's dead 8. As long as they all stay in, it's dead 8. So good each way race. Boundless Ocean, Jim Bolger, never a man to worry about the price. And I think Boundless Ocean is 34.0. Has had a lot of stiff asks in the past, running the Guineas.
Bigger than that, Steve. Bigger than 34.0.
51.0.
Yeah, bigger.
67.0.
Love it.
A million and 1.0.
Yeah, 0.0. Go on.
Yeah, so Boundless Ocean running the Guineas, already had a busy time of it. Already run 5 times this season, but that's what Jim Bolger does, just keeps running them. And Hannibal Barca is I think, third favourite in this race. Well, Boundless Ocean was very unlucky not to finish an awful lot closer than third earlier on in the season at the Curragh in a Group 3, because he had nowhere to go for much of the straight, and he's not a quick enough horse to overcome that over 10 furlongs. And then last time got involved in it was pulled too hard in a farcical race that was run at no pace whatsoever when the winner made all the running, and Boundless Ocean was again, it was too keen, and he wasn't quick enough with the way the place was run. So if there's a decent pace, he's at 1.5 miles again. And I think he's certainly got the pedigree for a 1.5 mile horse. So I think we'll see a different horse than we've seen recently. So it's only small stakes winning place. But yeah, I can see Boundless Ocean, if everything drops right, poking his nose into the frame.
Okay, my quick thoughts would be that Tuesday probably should be favourite, but I don't really want to back a horse who was probably second best in her classic that she won, but she still won. I don't want to back Westover, and I'm a huge fan of the horse. I did back him in the Derby, but he would have got a lot closer to the winner. I don't know if he will. I think there'll be quicker horses in here than him. I know he wasn't blessed with a draw coming out of 2, and he did get a really good ride, in my opinion, to give him a chance of winning, and he just got unlucky at Epsom. But he did lack a bit of toe as the race really developed. I think he's a ledger horse, and the standard time for the Curragh is about 3.5 seconds slower than Epsom, so it's not like it's more of a test. And I really like Lionel. I like how he's been campaigned. I like his trainer. I like the fact that they went, not the Derby, will come to the Irish Derby. I think he's really underestimated. So Lionel for me at 11.0 win and place. Adele.
I was going to go with Lionel because do you remember I tipped him for the Derby trial and he didn't run? I was gutted and I've missed him at Goodwood. Soft ground. I don't know. I just don't know. I just couldn't really commit to Lionel. There was just something holding me back. I'm not quite sure whether he'll. I mean, the ground will be quite good out there, won't it? The weather looks like it's been nice out there. So I've come down on Tuesday because he's a master, though, isn't he, Aidan O'Brien? Like, he knows what he's doing. He's not an idiot. He's won the race 14 times, albeit not with a filly, but they supplemented her, and like she has got better. I have to say, I've seen her from the start of the season, and then all the way through to the Oaks, and she is definitely getting much stronger. Because I remember I was quite negative on her the beginning of the season. She was still a bit weak in her neck and stuff, and she's definitely filled out, and she does definitely look better. And she was very, very game, I thought, at Epsom, and I know Emily Upjohn was unlucky. She still probably could have put her head down if she really wanted it, dare I say. There was even a bit of a time where we thought maybe did she even hit the front? Don't know, because of the angles and stuff. It was hard to say. So, I think she's very tough. She's very game. She gets the allowance. It's going to be a big ask. Physically, she's going to look absolutely tiny against some of these. But we know what you're getting with her. She's coming there in good form. She's tough in a finish. She stays the trip. Aidan's got, he's won the race plenty of times. So I've come down on her. You're making me regret it now, though, with Lionel, I have to say, but I'll stick with her.
Yeah, I think she should be favourite, and I think with Lionel, the ground is a slight concern. David Moussier has said they want a bit of rain this weekend. They might not get it, but that's is a price worth paying it, I think. Giles Dexter says Paddy Toomey could win with a stable cat at the moment. No, you're not far wrong, Paddy. He's absolutely flying. And I think his run is pretty interesting. Anyway, French Claim, who's 34.0. And we're done. Lays. Steve, you got a lay or not? You didn't. You left it blank. That's fine if you don't.
No, I don't. I couldn't get my head around the prices of some of these, so I run out of time, I'm afraid. Fine,
that's all right. Listen, we only put them up if they're worth doing. They've been in good form recently. I'm the only one with one. That is Rebels Romance. I've already said it. 2 places in the 240 at Newmarket. I've forgotten the name of that race. Oh, the Fred Archer Stakes. That's it. Guy and Steve. I think he might have been finished by the UAE Derby. So I'm well against Rebels Romance. Lay him 2 places. He's currently favourite, I think, about 2.75. Best bets then for Saturday. Steve, your best bet.
Well, I'm taking on Adele, really. And maybe we should do a forecast, because I'm going to go Sense of Duty in the Chipchase. But I do like Glen Shield, so maybe it's a forecast thing. But Sense of Duty, I think, will win.
Okay, Sense of Duty in that 225 at Newcastle, the Chipchase. Adele, we know yours.
Yeah, I hate it when I take on Steve. Glen Shield, last time he ran on the all-weather at Newcastle, he won a conditions race there. He's got a really good record on the track. So fingers crossed, and he's a big enough price you could play at the place market.
And my best bet, I'm going to give you 2 horses, but there's no prices up for one of them, so I'll give you the price I want. First of all, Lionel win place in the Irish Derby. Hopefully the 8 stand their ground. I don't see why they won't. So Lionel win place at 11.0 in the Irish Derby. And there's a horse called Biggles running in the 4:38 at Newcastle on Saturday. There are no prices at the moment, but you've got the likes of Safe Voyage in there. You've got Sir Dance-A-Lot in there. There's another horse in there. Oh, Busala, who was unlucky last time. I can see this horse being third in, Biggles. I hope he is anyway. So I'm sort of looking at 4.5 or bigger would be my marker for Biggles, who's really progressive and I think a pretty smart horse. So Biggles under Hector Crouch in that 4:38 at 4.5.
Yeah, I think he's ready to take off, Biggles, isn't he? So
is that a pun?
You don't know who Biggles is, do you? I knew that would happen.
Do you, Adele?
No, who's that?
Well, listen, we've still got time, and I often find the best jokes are the ones you have to explain. So go on, Steve.
Well, he was like a literary hero of kids back in the day, Biggles. He was a fighter pilot.
Where'd you get all
was
this?
he?
He was in. I don't know if he started in comics, but there were certainly Biggles books. James Bigglesworth was his name, and he was a fighter pilot.
Wah, wah, wah.
You can tell we were reading when we were younger, Tom.
Yeah,
I think he was a mate of Isambard Kingdom Brunel, the guy who set up the university.
Our producer's got it up on screen for us. Sorry if you're listening on the podcast. I thought he might be getting some tumbleweed to blow across the screen, but there we are. Biggles.
First appearance 1932. I mean,
yeah, it's famous.
You were only 10 then, Steve.
Yeah, feel it.
Good. Well done, everyone. Finishing on a really strong note. I hope you're all still with us. Steve, thanks ever so much. Chat to you again soon. And Adele, thank you very much. See you again soon. We will be back with you again next week. Keep your eye out for the next watch along. Not 100% certain when it is, but the first one went very well. That's where we show you how to use the Exchange Ever Live Racing. And it is very much on our agenda to come back soon. So do keep an eye out across all social media for that.
And if anyone this weekend is playing touch rugby, go careful because it's a rough game.
Thanks, Biggles. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good weekend.